Hey girlies, I'm Jessica. And I'm Rachel, and you're listening to the Game Day Girlies.
We're here.
We're back.
We're back for our first video episode. I'm so excited to be here with you, Jess.
You too, Rachel.
Thank you for coming to Atlanta for this inaugural, our inaugural video episode.
Yeah.
So
I need to get comfy. We need to take it back to Oakland, Hannah Park.
Oh my
On
gosh.
the couch.
This is how our entire idea for this episode even came about was on my couch in California, and we said, we're going to start a podcast.
Drinking a espresso martini.
We were drinking an espresso martini.
Something.
My famous espresso martini.
I need another one too.
We can do that after this. But we're here. So thank you guys for joining us this week. It was kind of a wild first week of football. I feel
to say the least.
I feel like there was a lot that happened and then not much happened. So with that, we can jump
chatting
into
about the things that did happen, unfortunately for me.
Oh, God.
Well, first of all, we're obviously going to start with Clemson, Georgia, because duh. And then we'll get into a little bit about Dabo. But unfortunately, my Tigers did lose. And I said it was going to be a close game, and it was in the first half. And then after that, I'm not quite sure what happened after that, where they went. They came back and they weren't the same team. Defense, offense never really got it together.
The footballing wasn't footballing.
The footballing wasn't footballing. The play calling wasn't play calling. It was just a hot mess.
It was.
But Clemson did lose to Georgia 3-34. And so hopefully they got the nervies out.
Yes.
In that game. That was a good game to get it out in because we were expected to lose anyway. But
honestly, I was surprised by the score of this game, how it all kind of unfolded. Because you said, the first half was okay, we have something going here.
It was a game.
It was a game. I was excited. It was giving, Aflac kickoff. Yes.
Wow.
Aflac kickoff game. And then afterwards, I don't know, whatever Kirby said.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Didn't say.
Yeah. But obviously there was a lot of talk about kind of Dabo's lack of, buy-in to the transfer portal. And I want to know, from a Clemson, die-hard fan, how do you feel about this? Because it feels like a little bit like Clemson's kind of being left in the dust when it comes to kind of their depth, because they're having to develop players from from freshmen all the way up.
I think from Dabo's perspective, or the Clemson perspective, I can see why he's not. He likes to build not a certain type of player, but he likes to build players to be one. He emphasizes still the student athlete.
Yes.
He wants to make sure that people graduate. He wants to make sure that they are becoming good men, and then they're good football players. That's the program that has built, and that's the buy-in that he wants from the people that he's recruiting and getting. With that said, with this is a new league of football with the NIL. It has become
a new league is the right word.
Yeah, it's a new league of football, and it has really become what was already a monetized sport. Now the players are getting monetized, so they're going where the money is. And because Dabo is still very much building that program of not focusing on the money, I think the transfer portal is not good for a player's perspective. They're saying that they're I don't want to go there, potentially. I don't know. And then Dabo's well, in the pool, I'm not seeing the type of man or person that I want. Yeah. So I don't think he's not looking. He has said he's dabbled in. He just didn't. No pun intended. He's dabbled, but he didn't find anybody find a good fit. So I'm not the biggest hater of him not tapping into the transfer portal. I do think there is benefits to building the team, building the camaraderie from ground up. I do see the point in that you're kind of you're losing some of that experience that you get from some of these other players that are in the transfer portal. Right. My issue, and it has been an issue for a while, it worked with other quarterbacks or other teams, I'll say. Not necessarily one player, because it's not one player, but other teams it worked. But they play the same play over and over. They don't change, they don't adjust, they do the same thing over and over and over. And I feel like that's something that he can do. He can look at himself and at his coaching staff and be like, where can we get creative? Yeah. Where can we get gutsy? Like, even this game, they had a couple of fourth and very short inches ones, and they didn't go for it. Like, this is Georgia. You can't not go for it. Yeah. I get, like, some of the situations you were, like, close on your end of the field, that sort of thing. But to me, I just feel like the play calling is a little bit timid. I don't feel like they're making adjustments. Yeah. And I don't feel like that they're setting up the players to really succeed without changing the actual play calling. Yeah. So if anything, I think he needs to tap into his playbook. He doesn't need to go to transfer portal. He needs to go to his playbook, start from scratch, look at it and see who he has, what they can do, and then change that up a little bit. And then maybe from there, we can maybe like start getting back to it. I do think that the defense is still okay.
Getting back to it.
Because they look good. And again, the first half, I'm not quite sure what happened in the second half.
But how many points did Georgia score? 34?
34. Mm-hmm.
That is not for the defense. That's a win, in my opinion. Like, they didn't run up the score. Not that anybody, I don't think anybody like expected it to be like Alabama, Western Kentucky, or any of that. Nobody expected that. But 34 points on the allowing 34 points from the number one team in the country is a win. Yeah. If I'm in that defensive room, I'm there's some things to work on, but I'm feeling good overall.
Me too. I feel like the defense has really been bailing out Clemson for these past couple years, whereas in the past it was complementing the offense. Now they're bailing out the offense. So the offense needs to kind of like step it up and do their job.
Yes.
So that's what I'm waiting for this season. We have a couple, I won't say easy because you just never know, but some easier games coming up. So,
well, speaking of that, I feel like our next game, Alabama, Western Kentucky, most of these games for the majority of teams, these week one games are meant to kind of, I don't want to say meant to, but they end up being a place where we can
figure out what's working.
Yes, we can iron out the details. Yeah. And you lose that ability whenever you have week one against Georgia or like Notre Dame and Texas A&M. You kind of you have to be ready week one, whereas the Alabamas, the Tennessees, the Ole Misses, all of those
they're still working out the kinks.
They just went out there and worked it out. So we all know that Alabama, I think it was 63-0.
It wasn't even a game.
Yeah,
it was like a scrimmage.
Yes,
pretty much.
It was, but a great part of the camaraderie of the locker room for this new regime, this new era of Alabama football. So I'm happy with what I saw as a long-term fan, and obviously a admirer of Nick Saban. Yeah. But we all expected this, and I'm glad that we didn't have any hiccups.
Yeah. So. No, that was an expected win, and I think we said it last week that I felt like it was going to be a ran up score just to kind of prove themselves. This is where we are. This is who we are without Nick Saban. So it was expected. I mean, good for them. Good on them. And then going to our last game, I know we did 4 games last week, but LSU and USC, they're playing today and we're recording, so we won't be able to review that one. But going into 7 Notre Dame against 20 Texas A&M. So I've been asked from the people that are near and dear to me to stop hating on Notre Dame.
Dad.
Uncle. So I'm not going to hate on them, but I will say, so Notre Dame won. For those who didn't watch, it was 23-13 overall. pretty competitive. It went to the fourth quarter, and then Notre Dame kind of just
edged it out
at the end. But with that said, it did not feel like that. It felt like a snoozer. And I was just
bored.
Don't know if it was because it was at 8 o'clock and I'm a granny and I'm in bed by like 9:30 nowadays, or if like it was just boring. Because even my favorite, if you didn't know, my favorite commentator is Kirk Herbstreit. Kirk, if you ever are listening, you're my fave. And then my second fave is Chris Fowler. And they were both commentating that game. So I should have just been like, in it. I should have been like, oh my God, tea, popcorn, like eating it up. And I was just like snooze fest. It was not interesting. It was not a good game to watch. Competitively looking at it, it was a good game.
Yeah.
Good game on paper, not good game to watch.
I agree. It just, again, the final score doesn't really reflect like what we watched.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I think that Texas A&M had a pretty like okay showing. They certainly had some things that they needed to work out.
Yes.
And like we just said, they didn't really get that opportunity in week 1 because they are hosting number 7 Notre Dame. So this is also kind of a new era. They have a new coach. We know that, what's his name? That was Jimbo.
Yes.
Jimbo's out, so
you're out.
I mean, he should have been out a long time ago, but neither. Yes, exactly. I don't write the checks, so
sure don't.
That was that, and so I think it'll be really. It'll just be really exciting to see this new program, and then obviously they're going to play Texas again this year, so lots to watch for A&M. But a couple of other highlights. So Miami blew out Florida
at the
Swamp. And I mean, I think that we all knew that was gonna probably. I felt like, well, I think everybody in
Miami
knew that was gonna happen. But also, what I realized this, but it reminded me that Florida has arguably, because there's no statistics in order to back any of this up, but they have the toughest schedule in college football history. Not even this season. They said in history. So that is 11 of the 12 games are versus Power 4 teams. 8 of those matchups are against 20 preseason top 20 teams. And then their final 5 games are against top 15 teams.
Yeah.
Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State with no break.
Yeah.
They play all of those teams back to back to back to back with no bye.
Yeah. Yeah. And I saw this at the beginning of the season. I can't remember who I was talking to. But anyway, I was like, I feel bad for them, genuinely. Especially like in this new era where the SEC is already getting like everybody and their mother. It's like SEC, between the ACC and SEC, it's like where are the other teams? I would love to talk to a Big Ten person, see how y'all feel. But anyway, it's like all the teams are there. And so now not only are you coming in back to your conference that has grown, you've gotten the toughest schedule, and you're expected to come out alive in this new era where you actually probably had a chance to make it if you weren't a conference champion. So I do kind of feel bad for them on that note, but I wasn't expecting it to be that big of a blowout on the ACC side. So Miami, they've been saying, the powers that may be, that they're going to run the ACC this season, and we'll see how that goes. But they looked good, so I'm not going to take it from them.
They did look good.
I'm not going to take that from them, but I just feel like I was expecting it to be a bit more competition than what it was. So with that said, on Florida's side, if they're going to come out of this crazy schedule alive, they have really got to figure out.
I don't know.
They got to figure
what
something.
They can do. I don't know what they can do.
Hit the transfer portal.
Period. Honestly, it's also like I feel bad for Coach Napier because it's like, are you gonna have a job after this? And what can you do? Like, what can you even?
They were dealt the worst hand, you know. Literally. This is like playing spades with all clubs. You know what I'm saying? You can't do nothing with that, unfortunately.
Nothing.
You gotta try and hope that ace of club walks, and it won't. But speaking of having a job, how soon is too soon to be thinking about a new coach? So after Minnesota...
Definitely not after week 1.
Swear. After Minnesota's loss to UNC, it was a home opener. It has been a little chitter chatter that Minnesota is trying to get rid of PJ Fleck, so Minnesota's head coach. He's been there since 2017 and has had a winning record for the program and has been coined as one of the better football coaches for the program. They had a bowl eligible season last year, won their bowl game, had a top 25 win last year. Overall, they did have a losing season, but again, you know, when you're building, you're trying to get things going.
Right.
But overall has been a really consistent, good head coach for the Minnesota program. So they come home, host UNC.
They played at home.
Yeah, they did play at home. Host UNC, and then they lose. It was a 2-point game, mind you.
Yeah, it was like 17-19.
Yeah, it was a close game. And now they're like, get this man out of here.
They are calling for this man's
head
downfall.
on a platter. I'm like... All right, hold up. So that coins the question, how soon, Rachel, is too soon to start thinking of a new head coach?
Well, okay, so in all of the articles and blogs and stuff that I've written, the outrage is stemming from, like, he's not aggressive enough. Mm-hmm. Now, this is something that can be changed. Mm-hmm. And maybe, obviously, like, the first game of the season, period, is not the time to be talking about a head coaching change.
Yeah.
Especially after you have had relative success in the past. Mm-hmm. It would be different if last year y'all, you know, 3, yeah, like I don't know, like if you had a 3-win season, okay, like let's talk about it. Mm-hmm. But no, obviously fans, and we all know this, we are brutal, and we can have a whole like thought around what we think and what we see and da-da-da-da, but there's no way, in my opinion, that you could ever be talking about changing your head coach after week 1.
Yeah, that was insane. I saw that and I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So sad. I feel bad for you, PJ. Hold your head up, man.
Hold your head up. Hold your head up.
For you.
Well, okay.
From one coach to the next.
Speaking of, and I'm going to pull out my notes here because one thing I'm not about to do is misspeak. So, last week, I think it's like August 23rd, Colorado, the University of Colorado, put out a statement banning the Denver Post journalist Sean Keeler from asking Deion Sanders or any football staffer or player any questions. Mm-hmm. Period. Full stop. They cited the reason for the ban was that that a series of sustained personal attacks was the reason. Mm-hmm. Examples being that Sean called Deion a false prophet, deposition Deion, Planet Prime, the Bruce Lee of BS. Now that one,
that's a little thing.
That was a lot. The Deion Kool-Aid, and calling the program a circus. Mm-hmm. So when Sean Keeler, he was on ESPN's Unsportsmanlike, it's a TV obviously one of their many shows, he said, my reaction is that they like money a lot more than the First Amendment. And it's been great. Deion Sanders is a marketing boon in Boulder nationally. Hey, you got a 4-8 football coach on the cover of SI. You can't buy that kind of exposure, and they want to keep that. It's pretty much that simple. I mean, it's disappointing. Is it surprising to me what the administration of Colorado and what I know about the athletic department of Colorado? It's not surprising at all. It just isn't. So, of course, We all know that everybody's going to have a little
it.
something. And one thing I want to bring all sides of this to the table and give everybody a little bit of context, because Stephen A., who is a fan of Deion and has been a friend, he came out and said that he essentially disagrees with how all this was handled, and that it gives the impression that college programs, or really anybody, is trying to like control the narrative and of the media and try to, give coverage where they really want to just shine the light and not really give the whole picture. Everyone's favorite, Paul Finebaum. That's a joke, by the way. Not
because really, I'm sick of that man personally. Truly, it's about time to step down, Paulie.
Yes, yeah. But he did have a good point, because he did remind us that Deion did do this in Jackson. And at the SWAC Media Day a few years ago, he came out. There was a Jackson reporter, essentially, that was banned from speaking to Deion. I don't know the specifics of that one, because there's not very much out there, not even this reporter's name. But a day later, that reporter came out with an article about one of the Jackson State football players. Actually, no, he was a recruit. Sorry. He wasn't even a player yet. There was like a domestic violence charge on him. So that one feels a little bit petty. Okay. Like, okay, you're gonna ban me, so now I'm gonna like put something damaging out. Yeah. So my question is, one, is Deion, first off, how do you think that this came to be? Second off, is this the like narrative that we want to kind of like, what is the narrative around this? I have an opinion, and I guess it's also kind of weird because like, are we considered media now that we have a podcast?
Everybody's media. If you have a social media, if you have a Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, you're media. You can speak on it, and you know what? Some media be lying too. So if you put your opinion out there and lie, you can be media. So yes, Rachel, we are the media.
We are the media.
We are the media.
Period.
Okay. What was your first question?
Okay, just what are your thoughts?
Okay. My thoughts are, I think in general, he has like gotten the highs and the lows. So he's gotten like a lot of praise and also like a lot of I'm waiting on your downfall media in general. I feel like because he didn't really produce the winning season that he almost pretty much promised and that everybody was hoping for. Like now he's kind of getting that, well,
all the hype.
All the hype that was there. It didn't really amount to anything, but like 4 is a whole lot better than 1. And you know what? He won 3 extra games than the previous season. So it's just like, again, with like you're building a program, you're like setting up a system.
Right.
But anyway, so it didn't like come to everything that he was trying to do, or it seemed like he was trying to do, didn't really happen. And so I feel like now he's getting a lot of that media of like, well, what's this year? Are you all talk, no action, da-da-da.
Right.
I feel like in general, from all the networks, all the media, he's gotten that sort of kind of hate or media attention. I will say, though, and I won't speak to the Jackson State one because I'm not really familiar with that one, and I don't want to misspeak on anything, especially if there's a case about it. But for this one, and in this particular media personnel, he did do a lot of name calling, which a lot of the other media platforms didn't do. They just spoke about the program, spoke about what he plans to do. Maybe it had a negative connotation, and kind of like a lack of hope to it, but it was never a direct like, you're this is a joke, you're a joke, your mama, your kids a joke, like pretty much that's what it sounds like to me. And then
the name calling was like, I think that's really what pushed it over the edge. And in general, let's just not name call.
We learned this in school, Sean. We don't bully. We don't call people out each other's names.
No bullying.
We don't do that. We don't support that. So now to censor, I I don't know. I feel like you should just set a precedence.
Yeah.
Can you ask me something without, like, if you are directly continuing to call me names, speak derogatory towards me, my program, my people, then I'm not going to respond to you.
Right.
I have that right.
Yes.
I don't have to respond to you.
Yes.
I will set a precedence of you will talk to me about football and my plan for football, not about me personally. And I think, too, because I think I read in another article what really, like, set it off, or at least seemed to have set it off, was when he said the false prophet one, because it hit his religion. And I can understand that too. So it's like, you said all these things, I've kind of let it slide, I let it roll, but you hit this one and I'm not gonna stand it, honestly. Like, okay, that's fine. I think, like, to say you can't ask me a question is a bit absurd. Not absurd, but just like, you don't have to respond.
Yeah. I think that there was probably more to say by saying nothing than say what happened here. Because, and I think that's also what Stephen A. was saying, was there, you don't have to answer any question. You don't have to call on, you can tell your staff, your press staff, if I'm Deion Sanders, do not call on this man. I'm not answering any questions that he has to, period. Stop, full stop. The press release.
Making it into...
And then making it it's also written in Deion's contract that he will only be forced, no, it's not forced, but like basically he will only speak to mutually agreed upon like press sources. It's like, okay, well, what does that even mean? Like, do y'all have a list of people? Now it's in, like, y'all have a blacklist. And that's okay. Like, now everybody's going to get along, right? And like you said, you have to teach people how to treat you. And if he is saying, if Sean is being disrespectful and he is you really feel some type of way about how he is treating you and the light that he's putting in your program, then do not talk to him.
Shut it down.
Be done. And you don't have to make a spectacle out of it. And that can be that. So I feel like there didn't need to be a whole thing, a whole stink about it. Because now, what are we talking about?
Now we're talking about this. We're not talking about the players. We're not talking about the game and how they actually... I mean, that was a rough game. But anyway, we won't even talk about that. But we're talking about everything but what needs to be talked about.
Right.
And I feel like... partially him coming to Colorado, that has been a bit of that. I do think at times he's made it about the players, but this feels less about the team and less about the players and more about him. And I hate that because he is like building a program and doing good things. Like, he also opened bank accounts for all the players that have kids. We're not talking about that. He like sets in morals. I think he's kind of similar, at least from my POV, like Dabo. He's building men and he's trying to like build people outside of football.
A strong like kind of pull to the man and not just the player.
And that's his goal, and I think he's doing a really good job. And unfortunately, like, this situation and it's just tainting everything else that he is doing good for this one thing, and I hate that. But I also kind of see his point of view, you know, like, but I just feel like there was a better way to go about it. Just don't talk to the man. Don't answer the man.
Right.
My mom always said, don't talk to nobody that you don't want to talk to. Right. Like, walk away.
And Sean, if you don't have anything nice to say,
don't say anything at all.
Anything at all.
Shawnee boy.
Period.
But that's all that on that. We can put that question on our Instagram later this week and get your thoughts about this whole situation.
Because a situation it is.
Yup. All right, moving into this next week's predictions. So just heads up, the ratings that we're saying are not probably going to be final once this is released because LSU is playing today. The ratings are a little delayed this week, so don't come for our heads if it's wrong.
Also, who is it? That's Florida State and Boston College are playing on Monday. So which I am very interested about that game to see how Florida State bounces back. So we'll see that.
We shall see. But all right, our first game. Well, we can start with that one then, since we said it. Florida State, Boston College. That wasn't planned, but we'll talk about it. What do we think?
Okay. So let's chat about Can we talk about DJ?
Sure.
Oh God! It's like, did we open up a can of worms? Okay, so I watched. Obviously, we watched the game in Ireland, where the luck of the Irish was not on
their side.
Florida State's side.
No.
And this like took me back. I know we were like texting about that. We had a poll last season about who was the problem. Was it DJ or was it Clemson? And 100% of people said that it was Clemson on that poll.
That's crazy.
Which means that Jess didn't vote.
I didn't.
So now that DJ is at his third school, who's the problem?
Well, my answer still stands from last time. I didn't vote. So that is the importance of voting. Get your vote out there.
Yes,
but anyway.
Vote. Are you registered to vote? Vote.
Plug. Shameless plug. But anyway, yeah, I still think it's DJ. I really hate to talk about people. You know what I'm saying?
We're not talking about people. I think we're talking about him as a player.
Yeah.
I think that as a person,
I don't know.
I haven't
him
heard
as a
anything
person.
bad about him.
So you're a lovely man as far as I know. But anyway, as a player, I just feel like he doesn't really adapt well in an in-game environment or situation, like an in-game situation.
Yeah.
He doesn't change. He doesn't change what he's doing. He does what he feels works for him, and that may not be working. And as a quarterback, as the leader of the offense, and really the leader of the team, you have to be able to make those changes, see what's happening, and adapt. And I just don't think he did that at Clemson. I don't think he did that at Oregon State.
Yep.
Yes, Oregon State. And I didn't see it in the first game against Georgia Tech. So I think DJ is the problem. But to what I said, because I still think Clemson also does that, they were maybe a little bit both the problem together.
Yeah, I was going to say, now that we are seeing them apart.
Yeah.
Maybe,
and I still think it's DJ is the problem.
Maybe they were in a toxic relationship.
They were in a toxic relationship. They say opposites attract for a reason.
Right.
It just was not clicking
It
at
wasn't
all
clicking.
because they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But I still think it's DJ, and we'll see how they do. I do have Florida State winning this game, though. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah. I have Florida State winning, too. But, yes, I believe that DJ and Clemson were just in a little bit of a toxic relationship. I feel like he obviously has to figure it out this season.
This is it.
Because, this is absolutely it. And I want to see him in the NFL. Like, I want to see him do well.
Mm-hmm.
This season's quarterback class is, I feel like he can make a name for himself. Yeah. And he's just got to make some adjustments.
Yeah.
And
I hope you do
the best for him.
Not like ACC championship, none of that best.
Not
but
that
like
good.
Personal best.
Yeah. Where do Florida State and Clemson play at Clemson this year? Where did they play last year?
It's at Florida State this year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dang. So he's not even going to come back to Clemson?
No, we played at Clemson
unless by
year.
Some miraculous reason they both get into the playoff, and then Clemson is ranked higher and they have a home game.
Yeah. I like that.
That's my ideal situation.
I like that. Yeah, come on back. Yeah, come on back to the valley.
Open arms. They're gonna welcome you with open arms.
Yeah. But no shade, obviously. Like,
no shade.
I don't know him as a person. I'm sure he's a lovely man, but just as a player, that's my POV.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting into our other games that we have this week, we have Tennessee, I can't see, 15
Tennessee, 24
NC State.
Yeah.
NC State was struggling.
It wasn't pretty
in their game this week. They found a way to win.
Finding a way to win is underrated.
Yeah.
I will say,
scrappy.
Especially, like, I was an athlete at one point in my life. And this finding a way to win is, I feel like, almost more impressive than, like, the talent. Yes. Like, you have to dig so deep, and everybody has to dig deep.
Yeah.
So, while it wasn't pretty, They made it work.
They did. It is home.
It's a home game.
I'm still picking Tennessee, though. I don't think that they really showed me anything that made me confident to beat Tennessee. I tend to lean more towards a home field advantage if I feel like it's a close game, but I do think Tennessee is going to come in. They're going to win. I think they looked good at their home or their week opener.
Yeah.
Very well put together. So we'll see, but I have Tennessee winning this one.
I had Tennessee winning this one too. I usually always pick against Tennessee because who wants to see that gaudy orange?
Leanne, we love you.
Is that court case happening?
Oh my God, we need to revisit
update
that.
Yeah, we need to reinvestigate. The girlies investigate.
I love Sandra Bullock as Leanne.
Yes, I was going to say Leanne. Sandra said. That gaudy orange.
That gaudy orange.
Yes. My dad's a Tennessee fan. He's from Memphis, so we forgive him for that. But yeah, I'm picking Tennessee. Like you said, they looked really good in their home opener. And we all know I'm an SEC girly, so.
I know, this feels like sacrilegious for me to go against the ACC, but I'm trying to win the
you're trying to
battle this year. So I'm making strategic choices, ladies and gentlemen.
Because last year you were just like for the hope of it all.
I know.
And then we started tallying up. You were like, oh no, we need to be.
So I'm being a little bit more strategic this season, you guys. I want to win in the end.
Good.
So, Tennessee.
So I have Tennessee also. Our marquee game of the week, which is also where College Game Day will be, is number 4 Texas at number 9 Michigan. Now, I did not watch the beginning of the Michigan game because Alabama was playing. But then when I was going back and looking or watching kind of the halftime show and the highlights, Michigan, they didn't look great. They struggled a little bit there at the beginning. They pulled it out, obviously, but they certainly didn't have one of these 63-0, 57-0, whatever wins. And Texas
played well.
Texas looks good.
Yeah,
they look. I don't hate Texas. Let's make that very, very clear. I don't hate Texas,
but
am I a little bit peeved by the presence of Texas some days? Yes.
Okay.
Do I feel that a lot of my friends that went to Texas are very troll-like simply because I'm an Alabama
because you're
girly
peeved.
And I'm peeved? Yes, which makes it feel like I hate Texas.
Yeah.
But Texas in the SEC now. And I'm an SEC girly.
You are.
So until Texas plays Alabama, I'm an SEC. I'm rooting for the SEC. Now, do I think that I think that honestly, and this might be a hot take, I think that Texas is going to wipe the floor with Michigan. I think that this is going to be a game. I think Michigan has a lot to prove. Especially, they lost their coach, they lost their quarterback.
Yep.
They have a lot to come down from of being the reigning national champion. But yeah, I feel like this is Texas. I'm picking Texas, and I'm picking probably something like a blowout, 10 to
10 plus
34.
Oh, okay.
Like something like that. This is how y'all can tell that we really wait until the last minute to make our picks.
Literally.
Because it's almost like we start churning.
Yeah.
You start talking about it and you're like, ooh, but then,
potentially. So here's my thing. I feel like the Big Ten in general, and I said this last year and I'll stand on it, they love a good choke. So, but I think that the kinks that we're talking about could potentially work themselves out a little bit this game. They are home. in the big house. Game days there, it's like such a good environment. I'm going to go with Michigan on this one.
Ooh.
I just feel like
Close game?
Yes, it will be a close game.
Okay.
A close win, Michigan win. I feel like they have, to your point, like they have something to prove. Mm-hmm. They're reigning champion. They had all that scandal last year, a lot of turnover, a lot of change. And so they just want to be like, we were supposed to be there. We want to be there. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a Big Ten fan. Like, I think I like them less than the SEC. I'm not even going to lie to you. But it's just like, I don't know. So I'm going to go with Michigan on this one. I think that they're going to edge it out over Texas. So that is a
little bit of a hot take. I feel like, I don't even know what the over-under is, but
I don't even know what that means.
Okay.
I mean, I do.
We're going to do a whole...
We should.
We should.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to... Because I
be
feel like sometimes
lesson.
I like look at it and I'm like...
What is this?
69.5.
I'm like, plus we have them winning?
Right.
Yeah, okay. They're in the plus.
Means good.
Plus means good. But no.
It's opposite day. It's opposite day. Okay. Our next game, we have South Florida at 5 Alabama. Let's not forget that last year, this is a game we struggled in. Mm-hmm. But we were also working out our Jalen Milroe kinks. Mm-hmm. So, obviously, I'm picking Alabama.
I did too.
But
I don't think it's going to be close this year.
No, it's not going to be close. It's not going to be close. And again, I feel like this team is on a tear to like prove themselves and make sure that everybody knows that they are not to be played with and that this is not the same Alabama team from last year that y'all were, lanking.
Yeah.
Let all the naysayers know.
Naysayer.
We got our head naysayer right here.
Yeah, I am, but not today. Okay. I am picking Alabama. And then our last game of the week.
She said, okay, moving on.
No, not like that. Okay, last game will be App State versus Clemson. I would love to say that this is going to be a easy win, but App State always seems to be one of those teams, especially for us in general.
I think in general they have they go out and try and they are season ruiners.
So, and Clemson has statistically and continuously had issues with them, and it's a night game. I personally just feel like Clemson doesn't.
They have too much time during the day to think about it.
Yeah, it just builds up anxiety. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be sleepy at 9 o'clock and this game's still going to be on. They won't feel my cheers. You know what I'm saying?
That's all that they need anyways.
Literally. But as always, I'm still picking Clemson. That's the love of my life.
Here she goes with the Tigs on top.
Tigs on top.
I'm also picking Clemson here. I really want to see Clemson get into the playoff.
Me too.
I know. Well, duh.
Yeah.
But I think that they, especially, I know Dabo was basically at his post-game conference was saying a little bit about how they were feeling a little embarrassed by kind of the team that they put out there and how they performed and the result of the game. And I feel like they are not going to let App State ruin their season. They're not going to give they're just not going to, lose 2 games, the first 2 games of the season, and they're going to come out and make a statement. Yeah. So I'm picking Clemson. I'm putting it on the record, and I'm taking all this during our video episode so that you all can see my face. I do not hate Texas, and I want to see Clemson in the playoff.
Get that down. Clock it. It's clocked.
Clock it. Clock it. Those are the 2 that I'm going to tell y'all. So
yes.
That's that. Remember to vote on our poll every Saturday, so that way you can let us know what your predictions are. And this week I think that for the polls this week on our Instagram, there was a 50-50 split between Clemson and Georgia. So that was, I feel like we have a lot of faithfuls.
Shout out to my Clemson.
We have a lot of Clemson
My
faithful.
Clemson coming in deep.
Yes. And then the everybody picked Alabama obviously to win, and that was like 100%. But then
Notre Dame.
The poll was Texas A&M to win.
Oh yeah.
So that was just interesting to me.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we have some Clemson faithful and some SEC faithful.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm
Come
good
on,
with
Big
that.
Ten. We need
I know.
some
I was
Big
gonna
Ten
say
faithfuls.
Big Ten peeps, come on out, please.
Yeah, show us what you got.
Show us what you got, because we're begging to know. Begging.
Yeah. And so we're sitting at a 3-1 Rachel.
Yes, I'm
to
3-1.
my 2-2.
You know,
right.
what is it called? A neutral record is better than a losing record.
Yeah. We're not losing yet.
You're gonna do better this year.
I am. I have faith in me too. Thank you.
Yes.
I needed that.
Of course.
Oh my gosh.
I'm always gonna support you, girl.
Yeah. Moving on now, though, to something new and exciting. I don't know if you noticed down Rachel's sleeve to the left, my chest right here, we have some new merch for you guys this season.
I'm so excited.
We have a lot of things coming to you throughout the season, but our first merch drop is going to drop with this episode. So as you're listening, you can go shop, shop, shop. We have t-shirts, sweatshirts, crop top, hat.
And a hat,
And a hat. So get your Game Day Girly gear and then tag us when you get it and wear it.
We need to see you in it.
Be a girly with us.
Put it on.
Put that on.
Yes, everything is, except for obviously the crop top, is unisex. So we never want to leave out our Game Day guys.
Yes.
Ooh, that's what we need to coin it. We need to trademark that.
Yeah.
Game Day girlies, Game Day guys.
Yeah.
Period. Dot. See, look at us. Look at us being so creative on the. Ooh, clock it. Anyways, so go and grab your items. We want to see, like Jess said, we want to see you in them. We put that down. And yeah, I think also there will be more to come.
Yeah. This is just the first drop.
This is just the first drop. So just imagine what the second drop could be like, but everything will be so different, so you'll need the entire collection.
Yeah, and we'll have like some of our fun sayings on there. My favorite shirt, I'm sure you guys can pick it out when you see it drop.
Yes.
Which one's my favorite?
Yes.
Coming up. So I'm so excited for that, and I can't wait to see you guys in them, wearing them, and sporting them throughout this season.
Yes. Well, that is the wrap of our first video episode. I cannot believe that we did this.
I know.
Please let us know if you like this format, like what you want to see more of. Again, like we said last week, we'll have some guests coming up this season. And always follow our social media at the Game Day Girlies. And we will see you guys next week. And don't forget to vote in our polls.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Bye, Game Day Girlies.
Bye.